Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Bill
Bert
Podcast. What's going on?
Are you watching the Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, Tom Brady?
Yes.
God damn, I love that kind of shit. It's pissing rain in Jupiter, Florida, and I am like, I don't give a shit, guys. Get out and play. I need this.
Yeah. Dude, I was just talking to a buddy of mine. He's betting on Korean baseball. He's watching it at 3 a.m. He goes, there's no crowd, and I'm screaming at the TV that the guy missed the cutoff man. He goes, I've completely lost my mind. He's bet on that, and he has money on this.
Oh,
which is hilarious to me that you can bet on, that you can gamble on a benefit.
Oh, I'm recording it right now. I started watching it, and I was like, and they came out and played. They teed off, and fucking Tom Brady. Here's what I couldn't get past, Bill. So, Tom Brady, be safe, socially distant. My daughter's going on a bike ride with a friend. God damn it. I'm done with this shit, Bill. I am done. I'm ready for this to be over.
You are dressed like you occasionally will bring a Kia Coke up the East Coast when you're taking breaks from giving people fishing tours.
That's what I'm going for.
I love it, dude. You're pulling it off. I'm looking at you like, I want to fucking hang with that guy on my vacation.
Oh.
Where you from, buddy?
I'm dressed like I kind of know how to fly a plane.
Yeah. You might not be current. You'll get us there.
I'm watching them play golf, and I'm thinking, it's amazing how quickly up to speed these two athletes, Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, have great swings. They're great golfers. But if you took Phil Mickelson and gave him a football, he couldn't throw it out of a sand trap, I bet.
Yeah, golf is I've trashed golf for years, but I have to admit, one time I did a benefit, and there was a bunch of pro hockey players there, like Hall of Fame level guys, and they all said that's the hardest sport there is. They go, it's such like a mind game. And how they were like saying with our sport, like it's just muscle memory, and you're going out there. You're not even, you're thinking, but you're not. You know what I mean? You're more reacting. With that thing, it's like you screw up. You have that whole time to be thinking about screwing up as the other people are hitting, walking up to your ball. Trying to hold back that thing of like wanting to get the next shot to be a good shot, to put it behind you. All of that causes you to rush, to want to look to see where you hit it and all of that. So, I mean, the NHL playoffs, I think, are the big four. That's the hardest one to win. And if those guys are sitting there saying that that's the toughest game, who am I? Who am I, Bert, as a feature act, to be sitting here saying it's not a sport? It's a very difficult activity.
What sport do you think, if there's a sport you think that they said to you, we're gonna load you up with a doctor. He's gonna clean your system out, get you your steroid levels back to testosterone levels back. You're gonna feel the best you've ever felt. But you need to pick a sport right now that we think you can get to professional level within the next year. Okay?
Volleyball.
That would be the hardest one.
That's the first one I thought of. Well, I mean, people could spike it on me, but I could dig some out, and I think I could have a decent serve.
Beach volleyball,
football,
I
no
have
way.
nightmares about beach volleyball.
All right, but let me ask you, do you want to go up to the plate at a major league fucking baseball stadium when the last guy went yard and admired his fucking home run? I don't want to do that.
No.
I don't want to play hockey and fucking Matt Cook's out there and needs to make a statement. I don't want to do that.
Okay, you're right. I definitely can't even dream to get into basketball.
Football, my anxiety alone, pro football, I would get CTE just worrying about what was going to happen to me out there.
Yeah. Okay.
Basketball, I can't run, I can't jump. I mean, it would just, there's no way I could fucking play that sport. So now you got to go to the other one. I guess maybe pro bowling. I mean, if you're going to count bowling as a sport.
Yeah. Chris Hardwick's dad was a professional bowler.
I would say the thing, I mean, everything's physical. I mean, hammering a fucking nail is physical, takes hand-eye coordination. So I don't know how you draw the line, but like, there's definitely, put it this way. there's definitely a sleazy gambler underbody to golf, bowling, shooting pool.
Billiards, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know they're all filthy college with boosters and all of that type of stuff, but it seems like, if there's a hierarchy, there's definitely the big four. With hockey, I feel like being a distant three. In
I
this
always feel bad that I didn't grow up in a place where we had ice skating because I was obsessed with roller skating, like obsessed. And I think if I had hockey, if hockey had been an opportunity, especially when I was young and testosterone was flowing through me, I think I would have loved hockey. I would have loved playing hockey.
What kind of roller skating we talking? We talking you went
Speed skates.
roll bounce.
No, speed skating. I was a speed skater.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, Bill, I was obsessed. I was obsessed.
Wait a minute. You wore like the onesie, like what do you call that? The velvet, not the, what do they call it? The spandex.
Spandex.
You had the one hand behind your back, and you were going around the corner, crossing over. Where the hell were you doing that?
No. It wasn't a full spandex. It was spandex pants, and then like I usually wore tank top, like an OP tank top, and I had speed skates, and I go to the skating center and speed skate. I was obsessed with it. They do the races, like they do races, and man, I remember going to some places and just cleaning the fuck up, because where we would speed skate was at Carrollwood Skating Center. It was like a really nice place.
I want to call bullshit, but there's so much detail in this. This has to be true.
I swear. And by the way, I would go out in my yard. I had 2 sets of skates. I had Rydell boots with, by the way, I have speed skates in my garage. I have speed skates in my garage that I bought because we went roller skating, and I was like, hey, you guys got any speed skates? And they were like, yeah, what size are you? And I told them, and she was like, they're like $200. I was like, honey, we're okay. I'm definitely not going to rent a pair of skates. I'm buying speed skates. So I bought them, and I was hauling ass around the skating rink, and my daughters were like, when did you learn how to roller skate? Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was like this hidden talent. I think that's a cool thing to do as a dad. Talk shit about 90% of what you did, and then leave 10% for them to discover. And then all of a sudden, you're out there skeet shooting and not missing anything. Just something to just to keep them honest.
A fly fishing rod. I can fly fish, and my daughters, there was a fly fishing rod out at our lake house, and I said, oh, we should do this. And they're like, it's really hard. Trust me, Dad. Papa J said it would. It's my wife's dad is a man, like a man, right? And so they're like, Papa J had a hard time doing it, Dad. You won't be able to do it. And I think it's a Travel Channel skill set of like, I can do a bunch of things okay, because you learned with experts. And then I picked up the fly fishing rod and started doing it. And my daughters are like, wait, hold on. You're cheating. You're cheating. There's no way you know how to do this. And I was like, nah, guys, there's a lot you don't know about me.
That's just amazing to me. Like, why? I don't know. This is going to get in my issues with women, but like, they love you while they just.
I have a bunch of those today, Bill.
Okay, well, they love you to death while they just totally root against you. There's a certain place where they go when they really love you. The support ends, and then I feel like anything new you try, they just shit all over it. I don't know if it's a subconscious, like, oh, he's changing. He's becoming something new. Will the new him like me? I have to keep him in this area where he needs to be. It's like straight across the fucking board. Like the women in my life. If I'm trying something new, what do you do that for? You can't do that. Oh, you're gonna start that, and you're gonna fucking blah blah blah. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. I'm having legit women issues in my house because they just team up against me. Like they all just get on the same team and start whittling me apart.
Oh, I got into a big one last night.
Yeah. What about?
We were fucking watching this documentary. It was really fascinating. It was about the National Enquirer and how this guy came about, buying it and the whole history of it. At first, they were totally into gore. If there was like a car accident, people died, they would get like the dead body photos.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they would
where
show
did you
it.
watch this?
It was on CNN of all things,
Oh,
which
fuck.
them and National Enquirer somehow they've weaved like that, right? And Fox News and all that. Not trying to be political here. They're all a little nuts at this point. So it came to be this one point when they started to get political. And I'm not naming names because I don't know who the fuck was involved. But there was a particular person who was running for office, and he had fucked around on his wife with this chick. And they were worried that while he was running for office, that this shit was going to come out. So the National Enquirer approached this woman, said, hey, we'll buy your story and we'll make a book and yada, yada, and all this. And they gave her the deal. And then they owned all the rights to the story. And then they just killed it. Okay. So then this, they started painting the woman out that was fucking the married guy like she was this victim. Going like, and you know, they had like one of these feminist ladies comes on, you know, the black frame glasses and the I'm smart haircut,
Yeah.
going, you know, they silenced these women and blah, 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 blah. And I just started laughing, going like, what the fuck are you, they're all filthy in this story. And she got so mad at me that I wasn't addressing the guy who went on to win the election. And I'm like, I don't need to.
Yeah.
That was already addressed. What I'm dressing is what's in the cracks, which is my fucking job as a comic. Anybody can watch this and be fucking spoon-fed what the fuck they just told me to think, which was not a good point to bring up. It's like, I'm supposed to sit here and feel bad for her. And it's just like, they had to get to her before she sold the story. And then my wife goes, she wasn't trying to sell the story. I go, she sold it to the Enquirer. They knew what the fuck. I go, she was with this guy. She was taking his money. And as long as he was banging her, she was going to keep her mouth shut. And then when she left, she was going to sell the fucking story. They knew it. They did a preemptive strike and they did it. It's all dirtbag shit.
Yeah.
But we got into this big fucking thing where she just wanted me to be saying what the feminist lady was saying in that, which was half of the story. What this guy did was fucking wrong. What this guy did was terrible. And you should be looking at this guy going, should this guy be holding public office? Obviously.
Yeah.
But to make that point, don't turn her into some fucking Florence Nightingale. Like she was silenced, like some sort of like crime was committed. Yeah. It's like you guys were all in the dirt. We've all done bad shit. I'm not judging either one of them, but it's just like, don't fucking put angel wings on her. Like she had this story to tell. They almost made it seem like it was like a Me Too story. It's like, no, this was consensual sex with a married guy. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. So we got in this big fucking thing. And the takeaway was I lacked the intellect to have a debate without getting emotional. And some other and I had a very simplistic way of looking at things. And I was like, all right, well, I guess this conversation is over. So, I don't know. So this morning I apologized. And then we kind of got back into it again, and now we're cool.
Oh.
Well, because she then, you know how they do. Then I didn't say you were lacked the intellect. I said the intellect needed. They fucking, they start smoothing it over. Because I was like, hey, all right, I got emotional, but I didn't do any name calling. But Bert, we both know that doesn't mean anything. We both know it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. Yeah. It doesn't mean anything. Okay? And as much as they're all out there, okay, they use the Harvey Weinsteins like that's the prototypical guy. Like every guy's like that, which is not the fucking case. Most guys are like, in a relationship and you are held hostage by their emotion. You exist in keep that happy so I can, happy wife, happy life.
Yeah.
And there's all of this talk about power and this and that and the fucking other thing. And I am a puppet on a fucking string. much as I want to be, hey, let me tell you something, I do whatever the fuck I want. I don't.
Oh.
So there you go. There's that.
Mine started first thing in the morning. First thing.
Oh, you must have been sleeping wrong. I'm sure you did something wrong.
I was no. She just walked up and woke me up and said, Georgia wants to go over to a friend's house, and I was like, no. She was like, okay, and I went, hold on, why are you asking me? She said, well, I told her we had to ask you. I was like, well, no, the answer is no. Gavin Newsom said no, and so I'm saying no. Like that's the law right now. So yeah, it's no. She goes, okay, and I went, hold on one second. Why are you asking me this? And then I'm like waking up and I'm like, this isn't a conversation. Like, she stays in the house. That's what we do. Hang on. What the fuck do you, and then I'm like, I just woke up and now I'm fighting. And she was like, I'm just saying, like people are going to other people's houses. They say it's in groups of 10 or less. I said, that's not what it means. Look, it's still stay-at-home orders. If she wants to go for a bike ride, that's fine. She wants to ride bikes with someone, that's great. But she's not going into someone's fucking house. She goes, well, they haven't had anyone in their house. And I go, okay. I said, and so if I have sex on the road with someone, I don't have to work on him because she said she's pretty clean. And she was like, wait, what? And I was like, all right.
Dude, you went pretty hard with that example.
I know. I get fucking pissed off because
it kind of seems to me like she was making you be the bad guy.
Yeah, and she was, and then it turns into dad is OCD. Dad's got weird rules. Dad. Like if it was me, I'd let you go, but dad won't let you go. And I was like, it fucking drove me nuts.
Let me tell you something, dude. Women are awesome, but like in those moments, dude, it makes you question, like what you signed up for.
Ooh, I hate when old parts of your personality show up at a dinner table with your family. Like old parts. Like I have a real issue with women crying. Like it comes out. It comes out like I was beaten by a crying woman. Like when a woman cries and there's confrontation and a woman goes to crying to solve it, I shut down and I start becoming verbally abusive. Like I am not cool with it. And I start saying things like, oh, that's right. We don't need to use words anymore because you can cry on demand. And
you know what, dude? I've done that. You can't win. It's just like, I did one time. I was just like, you're crying over this? Like, how old are you? I mean, it was just some bullshit thing. And all of a sudden she's fucking crying. Because, look, we're not women, so we don't know how they think, but I am highly suspicious of the crime.
Fuck yeah.
So I'll give them 47% of those cries are because I hurt your feelings, and the other 53 is I'm making some good points you can't refute, and you don't feel like apologizing, and the second you cry, there's nothing worse than making a woman cry. The second they cry, you literally feel like you're a bully. You just knocked an ice cream cone out of a kid's hand, and you're just like, all right. I'm sorry. Even though I feel like I was right and I didn't do anything wrong. I'm sorry. Just stop doing that. I used to do a bit in my act. I used to do this bit. I said, the longer I'm married, the less respect I have for Meryl Streep. They can all cry on cue.
They can all cry.
We need 7 potatoes for this dish and they only have 6.
Oh.
If they need to go there emotionally, they can do it. I have to get rid of a dog. I have to have a friend die. I got to see something happen to a kid on a crime show, like to get me to cry. That's what
I can't just cry. I don't know how to.
I didn't for the longest time. And then a couple of really big emotional things happened, some deaths of friends that there was nothing else to do. So, and then once that happened, it kind of reawoke something that I had paid. You ever see like an abandoned town? Yeah. And after a while, when they leave it, the weeds grow up through the asphalt. That's kind of what happened. So I don't know. I actually think I am a big emotional person. just underneath the surface of my shit jokes, to be honest with you.
I've cried. I definitely can cry, but I can't cry the way my wife and or daughters. And if my daughter did it one time, started crying because she was losing the argument. Whew, I did not handle that well at all. At all.
I would like to say that I draw the line with my kid, but my kid isn't old enough to do that yet. I hope I don't do that.
Bill, trust me. This was got caught lying, got caught doing something, came home, was defiant. And when I told her all the shit I knew about, she started crying and I went, no, we don't. We're using words today. And I think I probably said something like, I don't know, I'm sure I said some correlation to man running Fortune 500 companies don't cry when they fucking get caught.
You know what, dude? You were right up until that last comment. And I'm telling you, that's the game they play. They know you're right. They start crying. And then they're just waiting for you to open that porthole to make the argument about something else. And okay, I lied. Okay, I said I was here and I was really there. And you're right and all that. But that's no reason to bring up some white toxic male at a Fortune 500 company. They'll fucking go down that thing. And next thing you know, you're apologizing.
Oh.
It's really genius. I will tell you this, though. I am jealous of their ability to cry because it is such a wonderful emotion to get rid of shit. I mean, that's so much of my anger. It's just all shit I should have cried about and didn't. It's just sitting on my chest. And I learned that, unfortunately, when a friend of mine got killed last year, and I just said, fuck it, and I let it out. And I still have the sadness, but I don't have the weight because I really cried it out.
Really?
Yeah. So they do that maybe to a fault, but I feel like I'm painting with a broad brush here.
Hey,
I'm just saying
like
in general that they don't carry that around in their chest. I think the way so many guys, although I'm sure that they have other stuff, and at this point, there's a bunch of women listening going, not true. Can you know what it's like to fucking carry a baby? They always have their fucking, whatever. So, and I got to be honest with you, after fucking last night and this morning, whatever. They just win. It's just, yes, you're right. Fuck it. I don't care.
Yeah, it was pointed out to me yesterday how selfish I have been, not being a dick. She was just pointing out how selfish I've been my whole life with her. We've been together 18 years as of yesterday. That was our first date, was yesterday. And she was not being a dick, but she said all the times that I just said, I'm going for a jog. I'm going to go skateboard. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I couldn't deny it. They were all very accurate. I do that all the time. But I was like, I didn't have a comeback for it. Like, but you did. She was like, and I just, took care of the girls, fed the dog, and like all the stuff. And I was like, fuck, I wasn't prepared for this argument.
Yeah, but Bert, you also provide an incredible life.
Oh, I'm going to stop you right there, Bill. You're not allowed to say that in my house. Whoa.
Dude, you know what? You're not allowed to say that in my house either.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. If the role was reversed, would you ever hear the end of it? Would you ever hear the end of it? The answer is no.
Oh, shit. Don't you ever acknowledge that your hard work makes money for people to live in this fucking house.
Nope.
Oh, my God.
You know what you're doing there, Bert, is you're throwing it in her face.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Dude, it is. Man, I haven't done one of these podcasts in a while. I love my wife to death. Okay,
I do too. I love her.
I'm just saying though, there's two sets of rules.
Ooh. Oh,
this is a feisty one, Bert.
God, I was thinking today. I was trying to think of the advice that you would give a young guy about what to look for in a wife, because I do love my wife, and I love that We've been together 70 days in this house. Today, she kind of snapped and was like, I was in the kitchen, and she wasn't being a bitch, but she was like, Isla's going to a social distancing party at a friend's house, and she's going. And I was like, I don't know. I just was like, I don't feel comfortable with at all with even, I feel like everyone should just be in the house. And she goes, it's been 70 days. We've been in this house 70 days. We haven't gone anywhere. Like, let the kids have a break. They're going to be fine. It's going to be safe. It's a social distancing party.
I would have said, how long was World War II, and how long did those people in London stay in their basements?
Yeah. I wish I had you in an IFB in these arguments where I could
Listen,
just
yeah, but you're romancing the fact that I actually have a 100% happy relationship. I'll tell you, that little fucking line about the Blitzkrieg wouldn't get you. You're such an asshole. That's all you would get.
Yeah.
Where I would go with that, and I'd be like, good, I hope she goes there and she gets COVID, and then we all get it. And then as we walk around and can't smell or taste anything on fucking ventilators, you can be like, yeah, you happy now, honey? Are you happy now? And then she'll be like, I can't believe you bring that up when everyone's so sick. That's how that would go down.
Oh.
What you're really getting down to here is, and what we're both getting down to, is why we die sooner. We don't cry, and our big bat in the argument is taken off the rack. You know who did that? Patrice O'Neill.
What's that?
Patrice O'Neill somehow mind-fucked all of us into thinking that making fun of him being fat was just too obvious and too easy, and it was hacky. So the easiest fucking thing, and his biggest Achilles heel, was taken off the fucking table, and then he could walk up to Bobby, yeah, you fat motherfucker, slobbered belly, blah, 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 and say all the fucking shit he said about. Yeah. And you're just sitting there in your head going like, Bobby's chunky, dude. You're fucking, what the fuck are you? It's just, he did that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, it was a rough one. The whole getting, like, just getting past breakfast this morning, because then she and Isla went to the social distancing party. Georgia did not go over to the friend's house, but it's going on a bike ride. And I said, I guess I'll just stay home and work on Sunday. And she was like, well, yeah. And I so badly wanted to go because this pays for all that, like just so badly. But I didn't say a word. God, you're right. If it was on the other fucking foot, if she was making all the money and I was just, it would be brought up every time the check came. I'll pay for it. I make all the money.
Yeah, Bert, you just put your feet up. I would love to be home with the children. Do you know what it's like to be in a Super 8 missing your children? You'd never hear the end of it. Let's get off this subject because it's just going to make our lives more miserable.
Let's flip it and go. So I was curious, what was the thing, like when you started dating Nia, what was the thing where you thought, because I was thinking about this with Leanne because I love Leanne. And I'm certain that there's beautiful women out there that I see and I go, yeah, but they're not worth it. Cheating on Leanne isn't worth it for me because I don't want to lose her. So what was the thing that you saw in Nia where you're like, I could do this for the rest of my life?
You know what it was? Up until her, every woman that I was with, when I fantasized breaking up with them, I broke up with them. With her, when I would fantasize getting out of the relationship, I would still go back to her as she was walking out. No, come back here. Dude, yeah. I'm such an idiot. It took me so long I was one of those guys that had no idea what love was. And I heard a bunch of people and I did a bunch of awful fucking things and shit. And it's just like, yeah, I think that's what it was. She also had this like she has an amazing energy. Like she is a force of nature. She's an incredible mom and person and all of that type of stuff. So I just think, and she was also funny as hell. Like she's stand-up comic funny. She's funnier than like a lot of comics I know. And she gave shit back. If I brought my guy friends over, she could hang, no problem. She'd give them shit. I saw them being like, oh, wow, she's fucking cool. so I could relax. I didn't have to worry about afterwards. I didn't have to explain my friends. And then I liked when we went to parties, she would just break off and I'd break off. We'd both do our own thing and then come back together. We weren't like attached at the hip. Like, we are a couple, we do everything together, and if I want to go do something, it's usually a yes. There's been a couple of no's, but I mean,
were you broke when you met her?
When I met her, I had just started doing the Rich Bitch tour. I had just started. So I was already doing it, but she didn't really have any idea what money I was making. I was making more money than I would have if I went out by myself. But I did that tour from October of 03, I want to say, until March, end of February, beginning of March 04. And then, no, 05. So it was the end of 04. Yeah, so I was, because I when I was with her, I wasn't on the Rich Bitch tour yet. So I was pretty broke. I wasn't broke. I was working, but I was like, I was working every weekend, going out every night. And then I did the Rich Bitch tour. So yeah, I mean, I was basically the $1,500 to $1,700 a week headliner, where it was, and I know that sounds like a lot to people, but that's gross. And that's Tuesday through Sunday, 2 shows Friday, 3 shows Saturday. You got to pay for your flight. You got to play to and from the fucking the airport. I always break this down before people fucking sit there and
I've been caught saying
commissions.
I was making $1,500 a week, and they're like, "Hey man, that's good fucking money," and you're like, "No, it's agents, managers, flights,
taxes,"
hotels.
And that basically comes to, you flew to Omaha, Nebraska for Tuesday through Sunday to make about $600.
That's exactly what it is. And so so was she? What was the first time that was there? Have you ever had a moment where you got a paycheck where you kind of looked at her like, "Can you believe that?"
Oh yeah, yeah. But you know the deal, dude. They can be like, they gotta play it. They can't act overly impressed. Their whole fucking thing, dude.
Oh! Let me tell you a story real quick, Bill.
Oh, we're getting into it this week. We're getting into it.
I did a gig in Aspen. It was for a corporate. I'd never really done the corporate, and they gave me a check. It was $25,000 to do the gig. I was fucking through the roof. I was like, this is it. This is the money I've heard about. Like, I was so blown away. And I came home and I dropped it on the table in front of her. And I was like, "What do you think of that?" And she goes, "Well, you got to remember, we only keep half of it." And I went, "Hold on. Like, that's not, I just came home with the fish. You don't go, well, we do have to cut it and clean it. And
that'll only feed us for 3 days."
Yeah, I was so defeated and angry about that I was like, hold on. Like, how big's it got to be? What?
No, do you know what? You can't go emotion. The move there, if you give a fuck, if you want to waste your adult life trying to fix something that's unfixable, the move there is to nod, pick up the check, or leave it with her. Even better, play the martyr.
Yeah.
And just say, you know what? I'm going to go for a walk. And you go for a walk and you let them think about it. Now, the best that'll get you is a clarified apology when you come back. But you cannot on any level expect the next time you show up, you could have one for 30,000 that she's going to be like, "Wow, that's amazing." And this is what I learned is, it's not because they don't love you. It's because they do love you. And if you start walking around with this big dick fucking, I'm making 25 grand energy, you're going to start attracting whores. So what she has to do, out of love for you and her family, is she has to keep your ego where she needs you to be, and where she can handle you being, so she can be comfortable and you're going to be comfortable, and there won't be any fights, dude. It's a whole making money, dude, when you weren't making money becomes the whole game within the fucking game. And for all you young bucks out there who think that you're going to make a certain amount of money and then your life is going to get easy with the woman you're with, that is the biggest fucking pipe dream you're ever going to chase. Because they're going to take it off the table. Don't throw it in my face. And whatever just happened is who the fuck you are and what you have to answer to. You could literally save a busload of kids from a burning bus. You got the mesh gloves because you burned your hands pulling the last two out. And you're a fucking hero. All right? God help you if you leave the seat up that night.
Oh, I used to have a joke about I would love to date a young woman, not to have sex with her or not for the relationship, just to impress her, because it's so hard to impress my wife. Like, I would love for a girl to be like, wait, we're going to Cleveland this weekend? Oh my God. First class tickets? This is amazing. Oh my God.
You don't have to pay for drinks at the bar?
Oh, this is so cool. Oh, they can bring us chicken fingers? Oh my gosh.
Yep. Well, all right. Now, in defense, this is what I want to get out of this. I want to hear from women that are in our situation with a guy, how they have to play it. Because I got to be honest with you, when they sit there and they go, it takes a really strong man to be with a woman that makes more money than he does. And I've had these debates with Nia. I was like, she goes, could you handle that if I did that? And I was like, I don't think I could. I go, I wouldn't like try to sabotage your career. I would support you and I wouldn't get out of the relationship. But what I would feel like then would be, I would just feel like an adult teenager. If you can make a baby and make more money than I can, you've just made me useless. That would be like if I made the money I made and I could have a baby. And then you're supposed to sit there as a woman and be like, and what I'm bringing to the table is, I go, yay! Yay, you're doing everything. I just think that like both men and women, you want to feel like, unless you're just a lazy fucking person, okay? I think that you want to feel like you're contributing. So it's really not about her making more money. It's about my guilt of like, I'm useless. I mean, I might as well just still be in 7th grade. Like, you want my driver's license? Can I at least just ride my bicycle to work?
Yeah.
So I can feel like, I don't know, like I'm somehow contributing.
I remember Leanne started her podcast and she uploaded the first one and we opened a bottle of champagne and she was like, I'm scared. Like, and I was like, oh, don't worry about it. I go, just start a podcast and let it grow and build it. Don't worry about getting, listeners. And then she gets like her first downloads for the first ever podcast. And I think it was like something like 10,000 downloads or whatever. And she's like, oh my God. And then she looks at me dead serious, Bill. And she goes, what are you going to do if my podcast gets bigger than your podcast? And I was like, I started spitting champagne out my nose. I was like, sure, that's going to happen. You just started a podcast. I go, I'm your fucking guest. You got 10,000 fucking listens because of me.
You said that?
I did. And she got so
Bert.
fucking pissed off. I go, honey, I've worked my whole fucking career, so that I'm a valuable podcast guest. And I was like, it's your first fucking podcast. It's 10,000 listens. I go, don't. But she was like, why couldn't you just celebrate it? Like, what if mine gets bigger than yours? I go,
the same reason, Bert, she couldn't celebrate your 25 grand.
yeah, it was.
Listen, here's my deal. Here's my deal with that shit is like, if Nia was to start a podcast or she sold a script and she started making more money at this point in my life, I would be psyched.
Oh yeah.
And I would be like, because I'm fucking burnt out. I needed a pandemic to fucking chill out. And even then, I'm fucking, if you know all the fucking bullshit I'm doing. But I think, I don't necessarily, be honest with you, like, I don't think that is a just knee-jerk sexist reaction as a guy. Like the way feminists talk about, and which is understandable because they're not men. But it's basically like my job is to provide. If you're providing, then essentially to replace me at that point, all you need is like a fucking sperm bank. So what would that say about me if I was comfortable with that? Like I would just feel like I was just sponging off somebody. I can tell you this, Bert. I can tell you this. If I was in that situation, the house would be spotless and I would fucking cook dinner every fucking goddamn night.
Oh God.
All right. And I'll tell you this, try saying that to a broad and they'll put you in, sexist prison right there. It's just like, I don't know. I actually think like I think that we just got married during a transitional period in male and female relationships where like back in the day where the roles were defined, I don't think people were any happier, but I was like, I do this and you do this and then it all gets done.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of in like the dryer right now. And I think when you come out the other side, which to be honest with you, I don't think we will, because, oh God, I'm going to say this, that would involve women actually saying that they were happy, which has been my experience that does not exist. So at some point, there would have to be the final concession that, okay, we'll give up this, and then we'll also do this other shitty thing that you don't like to do.
Yeah.
Which is that other bit that I used to do a long time ago, how they don't want equality. They're looking at a guy's life like it's a buffet. I'll take some of this, I'll take some of that. Dying before me, fuck that.
Oh.
The divorce laws, the way they are, fuck that. They just want, same amount an hour, blah, 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 blah. And then their cartoon idea of what it's like to be a guy. I can't believe this podcast has gone this direction, man. It's fucking weird.
I think, is, it's interesting because I woke up, I have been thinking today about like two things that you kind of touched on. Number one, I was like, I bet there are guys out there that are really unhappy with their marriage, and being in this quarantine has fucking made them out of their fucking minds or decided they don't want to be in this marriage anymore. I was like, I bet they're out there. Number two, I was like, this is going to sound so fucking horrible. I was like, I wonder, my daughters will never, I don't know how the right way to word this.
Bert, I swear to God, you're the only guy I've ever met that makes me look progressive.
There's a sense of accomplishment when you know that you're working to support a family. It's a weird feeling that I go, I got a job to do. It's kind of like, it must be what guys who serve in the military feel like when they're like, it's a calling. I'm going to do this. I feel good about what I put forward. Like people that, like when you bust your ass and you know that you can afford to feed your family, and it's a cool feeling to get into a car that you've paid for and the whole family gets in, and you go, my hard work, me, all the times I left and got in the airport at 11 p.m. to take the red eye into Dallas to make it to get to press in Omaha. And I was tired and I did press and I drank coffee. And then I got back to the hotel room, passed out, did a whole weekend of shows, flew home. All that work, it's a rewarding feeling. And I thought to myself, I go, will my wife, I don't think has that same feeling I have. I'm sure she feels great about her life, but her work doesn't technically, like, it's not coming out right because I'm making it feel like she doesn't do the same thing I do. But it's different in that.
What I'm hearing, no, but I think is that it's you do that and you get fulfilled.
Yeah.
Okay. And then a woman's ability with children. That's what makes the whole fucking thing work. But you're not allowed to say that as far as like, they always just take it like, oh, you're saying I should stay home barefoot and pregnant. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just, it's like you protect the family, you go out and you make the money, you make sure everybody's safe and fed and can go to bed and not worry that you're going to come home drunk and fucking do something crazy, or that you live in a bad neighborhood, or that you're going to get broke and get evicted. Okay, I feel like your job as a guy is to provide and make people feel safe. And then your wife is the general, and she determines the battle plan. She decides where they're going to go to school, what activities they're doing. We need a vacation. We need a new fucking couch. They make all of those decisions, and your job is, when she asks you your opinion, is to act like you share that opinion. So then they can feel like it was actually a group decision rather than a unilateral decision. It always spins off. I'm trying to say something positive here.
If you were a woman and you made all the money and your man didn't work, ultimately, and I
was a woman, I'd be the biggest cunt this planet ever saw. But continue. And by the way, if we can back up, I love that you compared being a dad and providing to fighting in Fallujah. Making that connecting flight, going to Penguins in Des Moines, doing that shit joke one more time. You're a fucking Green Beret.
My point is, it feels good. Like, it's a rewarding feeling. And if you're a woman and you're making all the money and your husband doesn't work, you don't get to feel that rewarding feeling. At some point, you're going to feel guilty. You're going to feel like, fuck, I got to help him.
I think that I actually, to be honest with you, I think that I would think, and what the fuck do I know?
Yeah, same here.
Okay. That they would resent the fact that they married a bum. I would just feel like when are you going to cut me off this 46-man roster? There's no way I'm making it past preseason. It's just like, I'm going to I made mac and cheese. I'm not. And then not only that, she's going to be naturally better at taking care of children than I am.
Yeah.
Because I'm a fucking guy. And so I'm going to be at home, not earning money, not earning as much, and then I'm going to not be as good at just like their intuition. When to be firm. I've watched my wife do it. When to be like, hey, that's enough, or when to be like, come here, let's talk, and then like watch her talk my daughter down for motion. It's fucking magical. I don't know how to do that.
Oh, yeah.
So then she's going to be watching me being like, hey, fucking rub some dirt on it. Fucking quit your crying. A tray is as good as a plate, watching that shit. And I'm not making any money. And then she's at work with these fucking guys who are making a fucking living that she relates to more. How long before I get the boot?
There's a lot more room to be a bum as a woman. If you're like just an unmotivated woman, you're like, I just want to be a housewife. I think I could do that. And then fucking.
I know. And then years later, if they feel bad about being a bum, you have to cheer them up and tell them that being a bum isn't that bad.
Being a bum.
Where the other way around, be like, yeah, you are a bum. Why don't you start earning some fucking money, or at least clean up this place? I've been working all fucking goddamn day. I come home, you're sitting here playing video games.
Oh. You
got to applaud him, Bert. It took him, if you go back to women's suffrage, or if you go back to burning bras, it took him at least 50 years. But they did it. They turned the whole fucking thing around where they are now above criticism, and they can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And you can do what you're supposed to do and put 25 grand on the table and have that fucking knocked down the way the old housewife busted her ass all week And then the guy comes home to a steak dinner and he sits down, takes a bite. Christ, you cooked the shit out of it.
You cooked the shit out of it.
Yeah. So.
This podcast is brought to you by Fitvine. Do you enjoy wine but wonder what's actually in it? Fitvine Wines puts all that out in the open with less than 1 gram of sugar per bottle, fewer sulfites, less tannins. Fitvine wines are just grapes. Better yet, Fitvine wines are gluten-free, vegan, paleo, and keto-friendly. Fitvine has less sugar, less tannins, no flavor additives, lower carbs, and take it from me, full flavor. We love Fitvine so much that my wife went on and bought the Prosecco, which is through the roof. It is actually, I swear to God, you could taste test it. You cannot taste the difference at all. Also, every wine has less than 0.09 grams of sugar per glass or less than 1 gram per bottle, with some wines having as little as 0.01 grams of sugar per glass. Gluten-free, vegan-friendly, paleo, keto-friendly, non-GMO. You can find Fitvine wines in most stores, but if you want to find the closest location, go to fitvinewine.com and use the store locator. Or better yet, this is what we did. We bought it online. We went to fitvinewines.com to get online for delivery straight to your door, whether you like white wine, red wine, rosé, or yes, like my wife, Prosecco. Fitvine has you covered with less sugary, dietary-friendly, full-bodied wines made for you. Please enjoy responsibly.
Hey, I'm going to get my wife some of that right after she gives birth in a couple of weeks because she hasn't drank since she's been pregnant. And then on top of that, it's kind of the perfect wine, right? Right after a pregnancy, they want to get their body back. Hey.
Yeah.
All right. Simply Safe, everybody. Simply Safe. With all the uncertainty in the world, feeling safe at home has never been more important. It's why I want to talk to you about Simply Safe Home Security. They're longtime friends of the Bill Bert podcast, and for good reason. Simply Safe has made it easy to finally get comprehensive protection for your home. There's no technicians or salesperson that needs to come and disrupt your house. No, you don't need to pay any outrageous monthly fees or sign a 2-year contract. You just order online. Set it up yourself in under an hour, and your home is protected 24/7 with emergency dispatch for break-ins, fire, and more, all for just 50 cents a day. And we're not the only fans of Simply Safe. U.S. News and World Report named Simply Safe Best Overall Home Security of 2020. Right now, when you head to simplysafe.com/Bill Bert, our listeners will get free shipping and a 60-day risk-free trial. That's simplysafe.com/Bill Bert to make sure that they know that our show sent you. From Simply Safe and all of us here, wishing you safety and good health. Bert, I crushed that. I didn't even stumble.
We're both such good out loud readers.
I just realized I need to slow down and not panic, and then it all happens for me.
Yeah, I panic hard when I start reading out loud. Oh,
I don't know. But here's the thing. In defense of my wife, as I am really difficult to live with, so how I try to make up for it is I try to do everything. Like I cook, I clean, I earn the living and all of that. And even then, I'm still in the fucking doghouse a lot. And I'm not bitching because I am, I'm a volatile son of a bitch.
Oh, I'm selfish. That's what I've realized. I'm just very selfish. I don't think of other people first in our family. I think of what serves me. Because I know that.
Bert, I would never guess that as you're sitting here with a fucking unbuttoned Hawaiian shirt. I used to meet guys dressed like you, right? And fucking in like bars or after shows. And when I was really trashing women in my act, when I was really at the height of my fear of losing my Nia and not getting married and never having kids. That's why I was trashing women the way I was. Not because I believed that shit. It was like I was so terrified of taking that next step. But I would get guys who would come up to me and took it at face value, and they would be dressed like you. And they'd be like, dude, that's why I never got married. Fuck these, some bitch come in, take half my fucking money. And I would just be looking at him like, this is the option. This is the guy. And then you see him with some chick half his fucking age. And I was just like, I can't do this. And getting married and doing all this shit was the fucking smartest thing I ever did. And my wife is fucking great. But I will tell you, but I'm just speaking my truth, that it is not a, you ever get in a fight at a fucking football stadium or a baseball stadium with a guy a row behind you and you're punching up and he's punching down?
Yeah.
Yeah, in a marriage, you're the guy in the row below.
Oh, God. Yeah. No, my wife's texting now. It's coming up on my computer. Are you comfortable? Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine.
Oh, what, she's hearing the podcast or no?
No. She will hear this, and I know exactly what she'll say. I worked a shit job when we first started, and working at that apartment complex, doing shit I didn't want to do so you could follow your fucking dream. I found a penny stock before anyone knew it was a penny stock.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I was a fucking loner for a long goddamn time. I don't know. I mean, I don't even what the fuck you just said took me to a fucking place. I didn't want to. I don't want to go on. I closed that room. What's that fucking creepy story from back in medieval times where there was a battle and the king's son ran away from it and ran and hid in one of the rooms in the castle? And one of the knights told him that his son was a coward and he was hiding in there. And he goes, I refuse to believe that my son would do that. So much so that he had him start bricking up the door and there was no way to get out of it. And the kid was quiet the whole fucking time until the last brick. And then he sort of meekly goes, Father. And the guy with the bricks looked at the king and the king goes, put the last one in. I don't know why I just thought of that.
Oh.
Maybe because I felt like that person in the room.
Yeah, I don't know. I a few things I'm hanging my hat on these days. One of them is, one of the things I can't get past is, what do you think it is about Tom Brady that makes him the greatest? Do you think it's mentality, or is it?
Yes.
It's got to be his brain, right?
It's the mentality, and then you also have to have the luck.
Yeah.
Of who you go to, because the thing is if he was doing with the Patriots, if he did that at Michigan, which he didn't do until his senior year, and the games were there, but I just think by then all the scouting reports were in that he went in the 6th round, that if you get draft, like one of the worst things you can do is be the number 1 draft picked running back or quarterback. Receiver, you can possibly survive at least until you can get traded.
Oh, that's
but the
interesting.
beating you're going to take, well, they protect quarterbacks now more, but the beating back in the day that you took as a running back and as a quarterback is the first one picked, because you were going to go to the Lions. You were going to go to some fucked up team.
Vinny Testaverde.
Yeah, and you were going to get the fucking shit kicked out of you. Like, there's so many guys that, like, you probably never even got to see how good they would have been. So it was a combination. It was the perfect storm of the guy that was given the gift, the athleticism, and then the drive, which I really think that is developed. Like, so much of watching that Jordan documentary, I was thinking about my career and the years I wasted being, this fucking business and no one wants to pick me and I don't have a manager or an agent, blah, 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 blah. And I had all the power to turn it around, sit down and write something, get better, and just get so good. When I made that switch of like, I'm just going to get so funny that they have to fucking book me. When I went into that mindset, that ended up like filtering into all different parts of my life of like, you just like, I'm going to get, each day I'm going to get a little better. I'll get a little better. I'm not saying you're going to get as good as Brady or Jordan, but you're going to find that you have way more in the tank than you think you have.
So what was your process when you started? Because I feel like I was there for your, this sounds silly, but like when you became undeniable, that's undeniable is a really interesting phrase, because I remember Rogan telling me that in the backstage at the store, and I just was kind of lost. I didn't know what I was doing, and I wanted to do a Netflix special, and he said, you have to get on Netflix. And I was like, yeah, I don't know how to do that. And he goes, become undeniable. And I went, okay. And I did, in whatever way I did, but my process was not, I don't even know. I just was like, I'll just work every fucking week then, and I'll just keep doing stand up. And I remember cognizantly saying, jokes that are funny that are this long, I'm going to shorten them to this long, and maybe I'll just take the one thing out of it, and I'm going to dump everything I have into this hour. But what was your process when you decided that you go, I want to become undeniable? What did you do?
I stopped worrying about making it. And I decided that I was going to go down, with what I wanted to say and how I wanted to do it. And I stopped pursuing it. And there's like a powerful thing to just going to a club, killing, saying thank you, saying goodbye to everybody, fucking leaving, and just continuing, just hammering it every fucking night. And just not giving a fuck, dude. Like when I just got to a point in this business where I tried to have the look. I tried to do the rooms where everyone was getting deals. I tried to get into the festivals. I tried to do like wherever there was a commotion. Oh, get into the middle of the commotion. Get over there, get over there. And then I just said, fuck this. Fuck the festivals. Fuck having a manager and agent. Fuck all of that. I just want to become the best comic I can be. And I just decided that I was going to get good enough that you could put me in any situation and I could kill. So I did everything from the uptown black rooms, gay clubs, alt rooms, late night at the Cellar or the Boston, the fucking Strip. All of them had a different vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And I went up there and I remember just slowly getting rid of that, like, oh, fuck, I'm in this part of the country. I can't say 7-Eleven. I got to say Circle K. To years and years and years and years later, doing a stand-up special in London, England, and doing like a fucking NFL reference and not giving a shit if people get it or not. Not in like an arrogant way, but just being like, if I was in a bar, I would say that to a guy from London.
Yeah.
And then he'd be like, like, right, mate, they don't have fucking NFL over here. What the fuck you talking about? And then we would joke about soccer versus, why do they call it football, NFL football? That ended up happening with the crowds. So I kind of did that. And so then my stand-up got to be where it needed to be. But then like writing scripts and everything, I just wanted to sit down and do it. I didn't have the fucking patience. Too ADD, too scatterbrained to sit down and be, what is the story you're trying to tell? Where does it start? Where does it end? How do I get there? And I was just always good with like dialogue. I could really write the dialogue. And I got that show F is for Family. And I sat in the writer's room and I learned, and I just asked people that were good at it. And the best advice I got about writing a scene for all you young writers out there, get in late, go in late and get out early. So start the scene late. Like in that, I don't need you walking in being like,
Yeah.
Hey, Bill, how you doing? Great. How was traffic? Blah, 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 blah. And then get to the thing. Start the fucking scene where they're already at the thing and maybe set a few things. So it's moving. And then when the second you've moved the ball to this next thing, get the fuck out of the scene. And that's how it becomes tight. And then, afterwards, you can add some different fucking elements, whatever the fuck you want to do. If you want to rip off Tarantino or fucking rip off Scorsese, whoever the fuck you're going to rip off or whatever. But then I kind of learned how to do that. And I'll be honest with you, it was such a long fucking process. It started in 1999 when I lost everything. Left LA, no manager, no agent, nothing. And I moved back to New York, became unincorporated, dumped the whole Billy Burr thing because somebody told me Bill Burr doesn't flow and you won't make it. Dropped the Y, went back to Bill Burr, which is who I always was, and just said, fuck it. Went back to my walk-through bedroom in New York. And the first thing I did was I did Sunday Night Talents Room, the Uptown show. I faced that one. And dude, I can't even tell you, out of all the achievement in milestones and shit that I never thought I would do, that fucking one night when I went down and did that, dude, like I lived off of that for fucking years, that feeling. And I just sort of been chasing that with just, you know, and really just staying just ahead of the comfort zone. So, you know, you're like growing and just like, oh God, I'm going to feel really stupid doing that. And then just do it. Just do it. And I would just think of like certain performers. I would think of Jim Carrey. And one of the most brilliant physical comedic things I've ever seen is the beginning of Ace Ventura, Pet Detective Part 2, The Smell of Fear.
Yeah.
When he's in that with that animal suit and it starts getting hot and he has to take his clothes off and then he's completely butt naked and then comes out the back and it looks like whatever, I forget what animal he was in. It looks like it's giving. Right? What was it?
A rhinoceros?
A rhinoceros. He comes out the back, and if you look the way he falls, he literally falls the way they fall, where he fell and then did that flop over, butt ass fucking naked in front of an entire camera crew. One of the most brilliant things and fearless things I ever saw. I would just think of that. Going, Jim Carrey got into a fucking rhinoceros suit naked to be filmed on something that you could see in fucking 70 millimeter. He had the balls to do that. I can't go up on the, you know, Black Night. I can't go into this gay club and just figure out how to do my shit. I can't do the alt room where all the fucking, you know, back in the day when the alt rooms, they were just the darlings and all the big fucking people there. And everybody had ripped off Janine Garofalo's look. It was fucking unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
And I'd go in there with my fucking, and I would deliberately go down there wearing like a Bruins t-shirt. And I would deliberately go down and just be clubby.
Yeah.
You know? Because I remember DeRosa used to joke. He said, oh, Bill, I did an alt room. He goes, they could smell the clubs on me. The crowd could smell the club. They didn't like it. I was trying too hard. Because there was literally a time you do those rooms that if you like tried to be funny, it was, hey, man, you're not fucking, you know, this isn't what this is about, man.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think I did that. And then that just became part of, it just became, it seeped down into the subconscious. And then you just start, it's everything. It's how I ended up finally getting the balls to play drums live and sit in with people. I remember they went back to that Boston night, Sunday night at the Boston. I remember how I talked myself into it because I was going to chicken out. And it would have had no effect on my career because I could have just gone back to the mainstream rooms.
Yeah.
I just remember thinking, what's going to feel worse tonight when you put your head on the pillow? Going up on this night and bombing or knowing that you fucking bitched up and didn't go up? And it was just like, well, that's an easy one.
Yeah.
So then I just took all I had and I just walked right in, went up and said, what's up to talent? So he saw me and then there was no getting out then. And then I just sat there with my fucking stomach in knots. And then like most things, I went up there and it wasn't nearly as difficult as I thought. I mean, I basically the first few times I did it, I steered in like, oh, I'm a white guy. I don't know what's going on. I mean, I basically did step and fetch and white guy. I'm the corny white guy, doesn't know what's going on. But then the game became, can I just go on stage and do the act I would do? I'm going to go do over at the Cellar.
Yeah, because that's. I mean, I think a lot of what I think everything you talk about is relatable. It doesn't matter what color you are.
Yeah, well, that's sort of the thing that I try to tell people that are open-minded. Like, I'll be honest with you, I avoid issue comics.
What do you mean?
Comics that, like, in interviews, like, talk about, like, just all of that shit, all of that stuff.
Like what?
You know the stuff that they talk about. I just don't need the fucking headache. I say hello, goodbye, and I just stay away from them. But if I meet a real comic, okay, that is like not just an excuse bucket, who's not doing this fantasy thing saying that if I was white, straight, male, none of them would be a white straight male fucking grinding it out in a writer's room for a fucking Comedy Central show that gets canceled after 3 seasons. They'd never be that guy. They're always like an A-lister making fucking $20 million, right? So, and that there's a element of truth and there's a cartoon to that thing. So like when I meet a comic that is just doing that, then I'm here because I'm this. But if I was you, I'd be way beyond you, and I'd be at the top of the mountain. So in a way, they're saying, hey, I'm actually fucking better than you are. And you're where you are because you suck, but I'm where I'm at because of all of these fucking excuses. When I run into somebody like that or I hear that fucking rhetoric.
Yeah.
I saw somebody one time complaining about a club that they couldn't get into. And was saying because it was because of X, Y, and Z. And I was sitting there laughing, going like, you just sent a tape. I auditioned to that club in person and they turned me down. And I was a hell of a lot fucking funnier than you are. But you're not allowed to say that. So when I meet people like that, I'm just like, hey, what's going on there? Something culture, whatever the fuck you're hashtagging today. I just stay away from those people. But if I meet a legit comic that's asking me comic questions, then I will do anything I can to help them out. And I tell them the undeniable thing. I'll actually talk about some of the games that I've learned how to play to free myself up on stage. To like, they're sort of like, once you learn how to kill, you can just do that. But if you want to grow, you have to learn how to bomb but not lose the crowd. You can't bomb to the point where they don't want to give you more spots. It's like this whole fucking game of energy. But then within that, like, when I learned how to act out bits and do like 2 characters in one bit, like that was a whole fucking process that I avoided for years and years and years and years and years. And I'd be in the car and I could do it, no problem, with Nia. And then I tried to do it on stage for 2 nights in a row and it wouldn't work just because I wasn't as comfortable on stage as I was in a car, and I would just quit. And then one day I just said, I'm not stopping until I learn how to do this. And dude, it was like fucking 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks, all of a sudden I could do it for 5-6 minutes. And then I was just fucking off and running. And I think that out of all the shit that's going on out there, no matter how fair it gets, which it's never going to be fair because there's always going to be people that know somebody that have a connection. Most of it, so much of it comes down to your mindset and how hard you work, and your drive is so much of it. Because, dude, I am not even remotely the funniest guy from my generation of comics. Like, I'm not going to name any names, but I know people that are infinitely, effortlessly more funny than I am. But for whatever reason, they either lacked the drive or they couldn't put the puzzle pieces together, or they were too scatterbrained on going down this road. Oh, now I'm going to come back to start. Now I'm going to go down this road. Now I'm coming back to start and going down this road. You know, which I've actually seen people make that work. You know, and because then at some point they've learned all these roads and then they put it together into this one thing that they do. Like I remember I've talked about this before, being a fan of Louis C.K. And when he was as a comedian, and then he was writing for Letterman, I'm like, why the fuck's he wasting his time? I thought he was wasting his time doing that.
Yeah.
And when he started directing stuff and for like Chris Rock, I thought he was wasting his time. And then he learned all of that part of the business, and then he came back and then went 100% with the stand-up, but then knew how to write a script, knew how to shoot the script, knew how to put the whole thing together. And then he had his show. You were like, oh, fuck. Now I get this. So I think I've talked enough. I don't have any, I just know kind of like what works for me. But I absolutely love meeting younger comics, writers, and that type of stuff that are like humble, hungry, and want to fucking like get better. Like I'll talk to somebody like that all fucking night. But if like that other fucking thing, you know, that fucking thing where, hey, if I was you, I'd be doing everything you're doing and I'd be doing 10 times more. I just in my head, I'm like, yeah, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
You wouldn't. You wouldn't, because then you're saying that I'm not fucking working. Go fuck yourself. I mean, that's the competitive thing in me. I'm like, fuck you. I'd be funnier than you.
Yeah. I talked to Patton Oswalt this week, and he was saying, I think it was either he was saying or I was saying that you, him, and Doug Stanhope are the three guys in the business that have a great way of finding words, like finding ways to describe things. You do so many great ones, like when you'll take like a phraseology from sports and put it into a bit. I love it. And Patton said, you know, what I used to do is I used to read the Sporting News's top articles of the year and read how they were written, because sometimes the phraseology in sports is so much better than anywhere else. Like great sports writers really know how to say what they're saying in like just a few words.
Well, that's what we say when we always talk about street jokes. What I love about street jokes is there's not 1 ounce of fat.
Yeah.
It's just total. Just it's the most efficient thing ever. And I remember this comic teaching me this, going like, when we were talking about the topic of silence and not being afraid of silence as a comedian. He goes, all right, he goes, you watch comics, right? You watch a guy up there working the whole fucking time, pouring sweat, keeping the crowd with him. You watch that same guy at the end of his set go to tell a fucking street joke. And a lot of times a street joke it's a 30-second setup. You know? And you watch that guy after his whole time. This guy knows what I'm talking about. Back me up, buddy. Hey, the whole time trying to keep the fucking plate spinning. And you watch him tell the street joke. The second he goes like, all right, 2 guys walk into a bar. The whole crowd just settles in. Okay, what happened? Tell me the story. And he goes, that same guy who thinks 3 seconds of silence is a half a second away from death will then end his set with the street joke where he will effortlessly go through 30 seconds of silence before the fucking whatever the punchline comes in. And I kind of learned a lot from that it's like that you can be doing stand-up for so long that you literally feel like silence means they're not listening or they don't care. And when you run from silence, you lose almost every other emotion that you can then put into a bit to separate your shit from other people. Like Rory Scovel. Watching that guy, his comfortableness with silence and making people uncomfortable is like it's a fucking masterclass. While he'll have this over-the-top absurdity in that. Yeah. So he'll be scaring the shit out of them, making them squirm while doing some of the silliest shit ever. Is like I feel like watching that guy is like a master class in a form of controlling all of these sort of emotions that for me anyways, the first 12 years of my career, I ran from. I don't want to have them squirming. I don't want to have them uncomfortable. I don't want to freak them out. I don't want to have them questioning, like, is this guy sane? Like, then what you just, like an amputee, you just cut off all of these different colors that you can add into your jokes. So, and I still don't know how to do a lot of that shit, but that's the type of thing that's the way you can take topics that everybody else is talking about and really get to the heart of what you're saying and just take this totally different trail to it, that if somebody saw your set list, they'd be like, oh, this guy's a fucking hack. And then they sit down and watch it, and it's like refreshing. Like Chris Rock was probably the first guy that I noticed that could take topics that like comics had just beaten to death and then just find this open window of the freshest air ever. And before you even realized that, oh, he's doing this topic, you were laughing your ass off. And it wasn't until I was like going home, or if I watched one of his specials, I would think about the set list and I'd be like, Jesus Christ. That in a way is almost harder than being original.
Dude, I remember seeing that with Louis C.K. He did a joke that I thought was like, the premise in and of itself was like stuff I was like, well, we've all thought of that. That when we all avoid that topic. And then he did it so fresh. I went, oh fuck. So nothing's off the table.
You ever hear that Dana Gould album?
No.
He was talking about, is anything funny? He goes, I'm going to do a joke that involves rape, something else, pedophilias, and 9/11. And he did it, and it was fucking hilarious. And he was proving this point that there is, there is. It's just, if it's funny, it's funny, And I think people make a mistake of thinking that certain topics, if you joke about them, it means that you don't care. And it's like, no, people who say that don't understand that humor is also a way of deflecting pain. You joke about it because it is painful, because you don't want to feel it. That's why people in battle, cops, people who fucking, go to murder scenes. I remember talking to this woman when I was on the road. She was a defense attorney. She worked for the state. And she had to come up with a defense of a guy who killed his wife and his little kids. And they had to come up with a defense because that was their job and this guy deserved. So they were just sitting there. How do you come up with a defense for a guy that killed a 3-year-old?
Yeah.
And somebody just presented this absurd thing. Well, the kid was coming at me and it started this thing. And she said, within 20 seconds, we were all crying, laughing. And it was not because they didn't care. It's because they needed to do that because they had to sit across from a table of a guy who did that.
Yeah.
And like, I would almost say that is like them coming up with that joke is comedy, the comedy version of the emotion of crying. Okay, we got to get this job done. I don't want to cry about it. So I have to make a joke so I can get over this next hurdle, so I can get this fucking stupid defense down on paper, and I can just go up and read this so we abide by the laws, and this guy gets a fair trial, and then they put this piece of shit in jail. Gee, this podcast has been all over the place.
It's been a great podcast.